Go! Let's go! Oh yeah, 1, 2, check the mic. Good to be back. Nice to be here. Super long weekend. It's what you can afford to do when you own your own business. Hi, my name is Dean. Nice to be back with everybody. And we're, as always, brought to you by Crier Media, crier.co. Check us out there, as well as other 120-some podcasts that we curate in the Crier Media Podcast Network. That is my friend Lochlin Cross. This is our show, a network to other shows, and we've got lots of shit to talk about.
I do find it very entertaining that Crier Media does not follow me on Twitter.
They don't. We don't follow you.
I think you also have me muted.
Here, no, we don't. I'll tell you a fucking funny story. Crier Media followed me yesterday, and I own part of it. We're getting our socials go. We're moving the socials.
Yeah,
it's
really coming together.
Yeah,
I know.
Coming together.
I know. Have you said hi to Charles for me? Have you said hi to Charles?
Yeah. I did. Yeah, Charles Adler, who was
let him know how much of a fan I am.
All world, I did. He loves you. He's excited to talk to you. He thinks you're very funny. But it's tough to pivot this boat sometimes. So you gotta do some things, and you start doing something new, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm not here to talk about that. It's good to see you. I haven't fucking seen you in like a week, maybe more.
I know it was actually exactly a week because we did a show last Wednesday, and then we couldn't do it on Friday, and then I got drunk on Monday. Day drunk is awesome. I am.
Let me just tell everybody the story about Monday. Okay. I get a phone call from Locke in the morning. He's like, "Hey, just want to let you know he's awesome about this stuff. It's why I love the man. It's why I enjoy his company. I trust him."
Yeah.
And he calls me and he's like, "I just want you to know I'm going to be a little bit late. So when we start 4 o'clock, I'll be right there." Around 3:47, I get a text. I'm drunk.
See, here's the thing about golfing. Like when you start golfing at a certain period of time.
Needless to say, there's no show Monday. That is why we're here Wednesday. And and you know what? When you called me, I was like, good, because I'm in the car. I wasn't going to do the show anyway, so it's good.
So here's the thing. I had full intentions of getting a quick round in because it was a holiday Monday. I wanted to do some things on Monday night, and then the drinks. And if we hadn't have gotten a couple of drinks in us, we probably would have been able to do a 4.5 hour round, right? And we were clipping along nicely. But then, by the 9th hole, and I was 4 deep, things really slowed down. That back 9 took so much longer.
That's because you were fucking hammered. Can I tell you something? I'll tell you the truth. This is the fucking truth about golfing. I love golf. I golf a lot. Used to golf more. Don't golf as much as I did. But I golfed exclusively towards the end of my golfing career when I was playing a lot to drink. Now, when you quit drinking and you go back out golfing, it is not the fucking same. It is not the same game. You don't look forward to it as much. I still love to play a great round. I love to come in. I love to shoot low if I can. Big fan of trying to figure out the game, and trying to figure out your score. But it is not the same. So when people I used to go, "You want to golf?" I'd be like, "Fuck, I'll be right there." It's just excellent. Go play outside. You have a couple pops afterwards. You get just fucking hammered on the patio somewhere. And it's all part of the culture and the routine. Now I'm like, you want to golf? Not really. Nah, I'm not that interested. It's like 5 hours, right? 5 hours, dedicated hours, where you're just walking around and talking and hitting things. And I'm like, I enjoy that because I enjoy the game. But to your point, I'm a little jealous only in one aspect of your life is that you still drink and you fucking love it. And you hold it up nice and high for everybody to see, and you get to get hammered in a round of golf. So I was not upset that you were shit pissed when you came home from that round. I was actually happy.
There's also this really
do.
There's this really interesting balance with me in golf. I generally, at the beginning of the round, for the most part, this is how my game goes. I can hit the ball pretty. I am a very average golfer. I golf in the 90s, and that's fairly consistent for me now for probably the last 5-6 years.
So
I kind of reached a point.
Handicaps around.
No, 22, I got it down to about 15, and that's that's a little. 15 would be a little aggressive. Let's just say that now because I shot a 90.
It's easy season, right? You just easing into it. Yeah.
I shot a 97 at a pretty tough, beautiful course, Goose Hummock. I'm a fan. Anyway, if anybody is in Edmonton and they want to go golfing with me at Goose, I'll try to make time for you this summer. at some
Goose
point.
Hummock, is that a new course in Edmonton?
No.
It sounds like I've never heard of a name like that. I love golf course names like Fox Johnson. or
Fuck,
the Meadows or something like that, or like Eagle Glen.
It's not. It's been around forever, and I've only golfed it a couple times. Goose Hummock. It's up north.
Fucking awesome name for a golf course.
It's around Gibbons. Everyone knows Gibbons, but it's where the old Boonstock site used to be.
Oh,
have you ever heard me talking about Boonstock, that music festival?
Yes,
okay, it's right up there. So I've golfed it a couple of times. Lots of water, but it's a great course, well designed. And anyway, so I usually start off okay, and then I start thinking too much. Then I start tightening up a little bit, and then I have some
your
bad
grip
shots.
and your backswing. There's a fucking face the club, and your knees. You fucking keep your back straight. You stop. You just got to get up there and hammer the fuck out of it.
But then by hole 9, 10, 11, if I've been drinking and I'm 4 or 5 deep, I quit thinking about it again, and then the game starts getting good.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the game, I'm a little sloppy, and then things get ugly. So it's a real roller coaster ride for me in golf.
And it's all due to drinking. Dude, one of my best rounds ever is 70. I don't remember the last 3 holes. I'm like, apparently I parred in. I'm like, woo, because you don't care. Like, that's the thing. When you golf and you drink or you smoke dope when you golf, which a lot of people do now, because there's a big cannabis revolution here in Canada. You smell it all over. Like when I was golfing a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I smelled
a little client golf, and all I smelled on the golf course was pot. I'm like, oh, fuck, good for you guys. You're having a good time. I didn't have any because it was client golf, and it's really tough in the middle of like a round with a client to go, hey, would you like a blunt?
Why are you worried about that? Half the world.
I'm not worried about it. It's just I know. It's like in the you just don't want to say, hey, do you want some drugs in the middle of a fucking round of golf? Same as alcohol, but my point is, you gotta
bring me. I'd ask.
Would you really? Hey man, you want to smoke a Jimmy?
I don't.
15th hole.
Yeah, like I want to get shirts made up. My pee's clean. $75 a squirt.
Anyway, I'm glad. Good to see you. Sorry we didn't do a show Monday. Glad you golfed. Love talking about golf. We're going to get to sober people, not trusting them, because you did a great radio break about that. Lock, of course, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Host of the Locker Room there. Listen to your show this morning. So we will come back to the sober stuff in just a few minutes. But we've got PeePee to get to today. He went off the rails yesterday. We got Jim Carrey, who's made a major life decision. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And we're also going to talk about the wildfires. I'm going to dip in, talk about the Alberta election. What I do have to address is that Tina Turner died today.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, not unexpected due to age, but
83.
Yeah, the idea that we haven't heard about Tina Turner for a long time because she moved to the south of France and performed very irregularly. But that was our generation, right? Tina Turner was a woman 40 years ago, 35 years ago. She was like the alpha female in the music industry, and she passed away. I don't know what she passed away of. Was it natural causes? The platitudes are coming in right now for people as we remember her fucking incredible career. Forgot she was in Mad Max. Forgot she did a song with Bryan Adams back in the day.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
She was fucking incredible in that.
It's Only Love.
Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite songs. Yeah. Bryan Adams in R.I.P. Tina Turner. He put on Twitter today, my condolences to Erwin Turner and the family. Forever be grateful for the time we spent together on tour of the studio and the friends. Thank you for being.
You know what he did? He toured with her too after the success of that song, because it was one. What year did that come out? That must have been 89, 86, something. It was around around the height of her career, but that was like one of the biggest songs in that summer.
It's Only Love, Bryan Adams, 85.
85, yeah, it was huge. And she jumped on tour with him. They did
that was fucking wild, because you remember back in the day, Canadian artists were like just Canadian artists. And when you looked at American artists, you're like, oh, those are real artists, right? And then Bryan Adams was a Canadian artist at the time. He's big, Cuts Like a Knife, all that other stuff, Summer 69. And then It's Only Love comes out, and you're like, oh my God, there's Bryan Adams from Canada. He's performing with Tina Turner, and she's like a fucking living legend. And it's one of my all-time favorite songs. Ooh, Brian's he looks fucking awesome.
So well.
He moved to England and he stopped doing cocaine and all that other stuff, right? So there you go. He started taking pictures. But Tina, 83, passed away. Irvin Johnson weighs in. Look at these people. Magic Johnson, Tina Turner, Liz. Irvin says, rest in peace to one of my favorite artists of all time, legendary queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. I've seen her many times, and hands down, she gave one of the best live shows I've ever seen. Always gave you your money's worth. Lemmy from Motorhead said that. Do you remember that? Remember Lemmy from Motorhead? I was reminded of that today. Lemmy once said the best. Someone asked him in an interview. They're like, because you've seen Motorhead. They're fucking loud, and they put on an incredible fucking. Well, they used to put on an incredible fucking live show when Lemmy was around. And he said, probably about 15 years ago, I was reading it, and I was just reminded of it today because the quote came across Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, that's fucking huge. Lemmy said Tina Turner was hands down the best live performer he has ever seen in his life, and there will be no one like her again.
You know what's interesting about that too, and I don't know if a lot of people know this about Lemmy, but Lemmy was a massive music fan, and he played heavy music, and he was known for living a hard lifestyle, but he was a music fan first and grew up loving the Beatles and was of an age when, and in England, when you went to shows, right? When you were a kid. So he went to the Who, he saw all these bands and was at shows constantly until, and then still as an artist was in love with music and went to live shows. So for him to say, for a guy who was in his teenage years, saw the Stones play live, saw the Beatles play live, saw the Who play live, and talked about those shows having such an impact on him as an artist. And then to him say, yeah, but my favorite live show was Tina Turner. That's something.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. She was awesome, man. When she came out on stage in that little skirt and started doing her thing, come on.
Yeah.
Look at that. She owned it. She fucking owned it.
In her late 70s and early 80s, she had stomach and intestinal cancer. I believe that was her cause of death. I think people are weighing in on that right now. Yeah, so she battled that for several years. But yeah, she was. And she crosses genres. Like, we grew up in that era where if you liked rock, you were embarrassed to say you didn't like rock. Like you liked, R&B, or you like jazz, or you like soul music, or whatever it was. Remember that? Like in that time, it was like, you like that shit music? Tina Turner was one of the very few people who had the ability to be loved by everybody across all genres of music, because she was literally that fucking good, right?
That's interesting that you say that too. And the other thing too, and a lot of people might not know this about her, is that her battles when she was a teenager with Ike were legendary, right?
Did you ever see the Ike and Tina Turner story? It's Only Love. You ever see that?
Yeah, I have watched it. Yeah. He was a royal asshole.
Cock, as Lochlin says, just an abusive cock. Grabbed this girl when she was young, teenager, turned her into a star, and beat her senseless for years. And she had the strength enough to get out of that. Ended up marrying this young guy, about 25 years ago. He loved her so much. They were a kidney match. She needed a kidney. He gives her a kidney. And they moved to the south of France. They had this beautiful fucking life. But she is a survivor, on top of also being one of the most uber successful performing artists of our time. And whether you like her music or not, what she did was undeniable, undeniable. And the champion that she was for abused women for as long as she was, and the fact that she was the EVP on that movie, and the fact that she allowed people into her life, and the abuse and the suffering that she went through to get to the point where she could find freedom. Truly fucking amazing woman. And on top of it, at the age of 70, married like a 30-year-old guy. So she was like all the old rich dudes that you see that take advantage of that. And she was like, fuck you, I'm going to beat you to it. So she was a pioneer in a million. Exactly. A pioneer in a million ways.
I do find it a little creepy that Lionel's dating a 33-year-old.
Lionel Richie's dating a 33-year-old?
Yeah, 40 years difference.
Is he 73? Yeah. What's the rule on dating?
Okay, here's what it's supposed to be. It's half your age plus 7. So if you're 80, you're allowed to date somebody who's 47. So, and the reason why they do that is because it's a scale. It's a scaling thing, right? So the older you get, the younger you can dip into the dating pool, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So just a quick aside. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah.
I heard it was like,
I disagree with it though. We had a conversation about this last week. There should be some rule about, okay, so let's say we'll round it down and make it fair. Okay. Yeah. So Lionel is, let's say he's 70, so 35 plus 7. So he shouldn't be dating anybody younger than 42. So he's 10 years into the, and not only that, he's got a kid that's like 7 years older than his girlfriend.
It's fucking irresponsible and gross.
I think it is. I think it needs to be shut down. But I don't know why I'm okay with it when I hear that Tina Turner was doing it, or like Cher's banging one of her backup dancers, and he's like
Madonna.
30, 40 years.
Yeah, Madonna.
Yeah.
Madonna only dates like 19-year-olds.
I don't know why I'm okay with it, because I just think there's that balancing
Double
out
standard.
with yeah, and I'm okay with the double standard. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. I've got no issues with it. I'm a big double standard guy when it comes to protecting women from men. And when women want to go out and get theirs, I'm like, yeah, you fucking get it, girl. You go do that.
Well, we talked about Dolly Parton, right? So who's probably going to outlive us all? And if she came knocking and I was single,
would you do it?
I'd bang the hell out of Dolly.
You know what? Let's go a little further down that road. Yeah. I put out a blog post this week. Did you see Martha Stewart on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine? The answer is absolutely. Yeah. Not even a question. Not only could she make you a hell of a fucking blintz, but she probably gives her. It's still at 80. And it's Martha fucking Stewart.
You're going to get a good meal afterwards, too.
Yeah,
you're going to get a really pleasant meal.
And the whole place is going to smell incredible, and everything's going to be nice and tidy. I like clean. So, yeah, absolutely. Martha Stewart would. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's Lionel Richie and his girlfriend, 33 years old.
That's wrong.
Yeah. She's 33, 73.
She can call him grandpa. And I don't know if that's a bedroom thing or not, but it would be creepy.
I don't find that cool anymore. That's the other thing. I don't find the old guy dating the young girl cool anymore. When I was in Vegas like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, can't remember, dude, the stuff that you see where like clearly an old skeezer is hiring a woman for the evening. And it was like, dude, no one's impressed. We all know. Like, we all know that this doesn't happen in the real world. We know why she's there. We know how you got her there. We get it. It's creepy as fuck. But if I see like an 80-year-old woman walking around with a 25-year-old piece of male arm candy, I'm like, you go, girl. You get that.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it. You know what I mean?
I don't even know how to explain that.
Awesomeness.
Like, I cheer for it, right? Like
I do too. I cheer for it because there's probably a young dude going, hey, listen, I got to get in there once in a while. It's not a lot of fun. Same thing with the women who date the gross guys. I got to get in there and got to get it done. But the good news is I've got a Lamborghini and I never have to work. And so that's probably what that is as well. But I give it to the ladies for going, you do it, we'll do it too. Fuck you.
The dude probably has to clean the pool too.
Yeah, he's a pool guy. That's exactly it. How are things in Alberta? Wildfire. Things stealing down. You get some wetness.
A little bit better. During the long weekend, it cooled down a bit, and we got some rain in parts of Alberta. So we definitely it's not as severe as it was. We also had the last day or so, the winds have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever smoke cigarette?
Yes.
You did. You did for a while?
Not a lot, but like I smoked enough to go, I don't want to smoke anymore. Like, and I started smoking again when I quit drinking. But yeah, I get it. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I smoked pretty heavy from 17, 18 till I was late 30s. So I smoked for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I quit in 2008, November 7th, 2008. And I cheated once on New Year's that year. And I got sick. I threw up, and I haven't gone back. But I have a very strong memory of that feeling, like after a long night. Like, I used to get into the darts pretty heavy if I was drinking. So I'd smoke, and I was smoking a pack and a half a day sometimes. Right, I was a really heavy smoker, but I would even smoke more if I was drinking. And I would wake up in the morning, and I'd have that sort of tightness in here and in here. And I've been feeling that. So I feel like literally that I'm smoking again without the benefit of the nicotine.
Same feeling, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It was really bad, man. Like the smoke was horrible. I saw a lot more people wandering around with masks. We kind of just stayed inside a little bit, but it was really just sort of hanging over the city, and lower areas like in the River Valley and stuff like that. It was just sort of socked in. There were a couple of days there where visibility was poor. There was an accident, a really bad accident on Highway 14, just east of town here. That was apparently, I'm not I don't know all the details, obviously, but apparently caused by lack of visibility because of the smoke. And so I'm hoping that with the cooler weather, there's a chance we're going to get some more rain on the weekend, that it's going to alleviate a bit. Drayton Valley, they all got to go home on the weekend as well.
Drayton Valley was evacuated? That's not a bad
but
little sized city. How many people live there? How many people had to
I don't
boot?
know. 30, 25, 30,000, I think. I
Crazy.
don't quote me on that.
Any
But
deaths?
there was a
I haven't
ton of
heard of
families.
anything. Any deaths, injuries, that kind of stuff? Other than fighting these fires?
I haven't heard of anything, but there's always fatalities. You know what? It's very dangerous to fight fires. It is, right?
Totally, dude. Yeah.
And so, and you succumb like smoke and shit.
Smoke, hot,
right?
Yeah, heat. Not even the fire. It's the smoke and the heat that comes off the fire, and then it's the fire that gets you.
Well, and a lot of times too, these fires, they shift direction so quickly, right?
Oh, and especially in Alberta, where like the weather and the wind can change in like 2 seconds. Same with the prairies and the foothills and stuff like that. So less fire, less smoke. Or what are we dealing with here? Are you better today?
Yeah, a lot less smoke today.
Was that the rain? Because you got a shitload of rain last few days, right?
No, we didn't get a shit. We got a bit, but it was enough to actually curtail and slow it down a bit. So I think we went from like, and again, 90 fire, 72. Thank you, Christy. 7,200. That whole area, though, I think maybe I was looking at an area. The Drayton Valley specifically is not as big as I just claimed it to be. The smoke was anyway. We're better. We're better. Good. We need more rain, and we possibly will get more rain on the weekend.
Okay, good. That's great news for Alberta. Also great news for Alberta. You're going to polls open, early voting, 23rd. You've got the UCP, super conservative freakazoid party versus the super weird commie party of the NDP. Listen, I'm just joking around with the colloquialisms, but such a fucking weird province. And I know we're going to get into it a little bit. And dude, it's not my province, so this is all you. But if you have a look at some of the polling, and this is some of the polling that I just pulled off, some of the latest polling, the C projection means UCP is probably going to win, NDP in second, obviously, but there is no other horse here in this race, right? Like not one. You got Danielle Smith, UCP, ivermectin crackers, all the other shit, weirdo city, going against Rachel Notley, who doesn't give a shit. She's also a fucking career politician, so who gives a shit? All the other stuff. Like you guys, and here's the thing. You guys are picking between polar fucking opposite parties, and I am fucking amazed that province has been able to keep it together, because like in no way, shape, or form in any other province other than maybe in the United States do you have extremes like this, extreme views all coming together in one province. So I want to know how you feel about it, and because you put out a tweet this week that I loved. You didn't say anything about who to vote for. You didn't make fun of anybody. You didn't, it's something that you normally do. You didn't shit on D. Smith. You didn't shit on Rachel Notley. You one word with a check mark, vote. So where are you at? 29th, the election, the official election is happening. Yep. How are you feeling? What's going on? What's the vibe in the province of Alberta? Talk to me, Lochlin.
I think I said this from the get-go that I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are willing to admit on both sides. And the reason is because I think the province, the people that live here are hardworking and they care about money. And, we're also at a point where I think people are starting to push back, like that blue collar worker is starting to push back against taxes and things like that. And so I just feel like the UCP as a whole, and you can focus on Danielle Smith and all of her flaws if you want, but in the messaging, whenever she steps in front of a mic, is very clear about what her goals are. She is going to make it easier to live and bring down the cost of living. And listen, don't get me wrong. I am not promoting the UCP, and nor do I believe her.
Doesn't everybody say that though too? Sorry,
everybody says that. But I think the way because she's extreme. Yeah, I think there is a belief that she will do it, and she is stuck to that, and she has not let up on that. And I just, not only that, she's also done some things that have a very strong NDP kind of feel to them. So she's pulled the rug out from underneath of the NDP. And I got to say that, listen, if you said to me, okay, Locke, you're Friday night, you're by yourself, the wife's out of town, you have to go for a drink with Danielle Smith or Rachel Notley.
Oh, is there alcohol involved? Locke's there. Twist that rubber arm.
But hold on, let me finish.
All right.
And I get to choose who I get to go for a drink with.
I like where you're going with this. Yeah.
I'm going to go for a drink with Rachel Notley, and you will never see me vote NDP. I'm just not going to do it. The problem, I like her, she doesn't fight well in the trenches. And I think the issue with the NDP in a province like Alberta right now, and again, I still think, even with that poll you showed, I still think it's going to be very, very, very fucking close.
Well, just to kind of jump in, everything I've read over the past couple of days, and there have been some really good articles actually on how close it's going to be, and no one sewered anybody in some of the polling articles that I've read, but they said it's the closest it's been in like 50 years.
Yeah,
the advanced polling has it is like a fucking nuclear bomb. People are running to the advanced polling station so they can do their vote. This has a real Alberta, to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you remember when not even 3 years ago now, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, and it was like the perception war of who you should vote for, who's leading in the polls, blah 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 blah, and advanced polling was like 400 times what it was before, because all the quiet people on the sides who were going, hey, listen, we hate all this shit. We fucking hate it. We hate you. We hate you. And I think that Alberta, there's a certain segment of people in Alberta that exist in every province that are sitting in the middle that are like you and us. That are like, we're going to have to do some election math here. We don't talk about it. We're not tweeters. We're not people that, go show up for fucking events and don't glad hand. We don't give money to these people, but we think that this province is in trouble for one reason or another, right?
Yeah.
Whether you don't like Rachel Notley, whether you don't like Danielle Smith, same thing in every other fucking province, is that I think all the hate, all the anger, like we talk about apathy, I think we're moving in a different direction here. I think there's a lot of people that are coming from the middle that are saying, hey, listen, we're fucking tired of this. We're just going to go vote. And I think you're seeing that right now in advanced polling. And that's really fucking encouraging. And I don't care who you're going to vote for. And
that right there that throws all the predictions right out the window.
Big time.
When you get an environment like that, which you just laid out perfectly, so I don't need to repeat it, and people are just voting, you cannot predict, because what ends up happening in most elections is they narrow in on the voter, the guy that is most likely to vote. Right. And I think you're going to get a lot of situations moving forward in civic elections too. Totally. I think this is going to throw a wrench into it as well.
Provincially, I think that we have a really triggered Canada. And let me explain that.
And that's not the worst thing.
No, it's awesome.
Because my apathy bothers me more than angry voting. Like I'd rather you vote. I hate that. That's not fucking.
No. But you're touching on something really cool, and I love talking about this kind of stuff. Is because I'm seeing it. Like analytically, we can see it, and I'll take you through some studies that we just did. People are very, very weary of political content right now.
Yes,
in the digital world, they're sick of the fighting. They're sick of the infighting. They're sick of people beating the shit out of each other. Mm-hmm. I put out a tweet about Pierre Poilievre.
Can I just jump in really quickly? Yeah. Because no one trusts anybody.
No.
For the message they're sending. No. Like every time I see any tweet or anything on social media, I immediately think it's just a tactic from one side or the other to try to piss everybody off. So I disregard everything I see now online. Right? Somebody tagged me, probably listening to us here today, tagged me on some tweet about how the UC, some guy sent out a tweet that he's pissed off about the NDP, and then if the NDP win, it was illegal, and the UCP are going to burn down and I'm just like, that's not real. That is not real. I don't believe it. And it wasn't because it was anti-right or anti-left or fascist this and none of that. It just I see that shit now, and I just go, that's a strategy to scare people from the left.
I'm going to play you something. To prove your point. You're 100% correct.
And it works on the other side too.
100%.
The right's doing it. Look at PeePee. Every time he opens up his fucking mouth, all he's doing is just baiting his audience, his base.
Well, and let me play this for you, because that's what I'm talking about. Like, that is exactly what I'm talking. People are so tired of this kind of stuff. And I put out a tweet about it yesterday, and all the trolls, like Jeff Balling, all paid trolls in India and Philippines, are all over my tweet. And there's like, several 100,000 views. It doesn't matter how many views. It proves the point, right? That people are so tired of the artificial insemination of information in their feeds from people that telling them what they have to believe, telling them they can't believe anybody, telling them that they shouldn't trust anybody, telling them that they're the only answer. And the fucking middle, which is the vast majority of the voting public in this country, is super fucking tired of it. Super fucking tired of it. And analytically, to my point, you can see that in the study that we did, to the point where this gentleman in our analytics has the lowest trust score of any politician in this country when it comes to his messaging. The lowest, almost non-existent. Yesterday, the whole Chinese election interference thing, we got David Johnson. He's looking into it. He held a press conference yesterday. He's
Trudeau's ski buddy.
Yeah, Trudeau's ski buddy. That's what
Chalet neighbor.
So we literally have foreign interference issues in this country all the time because we don't have RICO laws. That's the problem that we have. We don't have racketeering laws. So this is like a fucking funnel for assholes with money to come and wash shit. That's what this country is. Pierre Poilievre knows that. And I will venture a guess to say this is why he asked this response from him when he was asked about, hey, why don't you just take a national security, because he's refusing to be part of the investigation. And if you love this country and you want the people in it to be incredibly fucking secure, you take that meeting. You find out about how terrible foreign interference is in this country, and you want all those details, and you work across party lines to keep this country safe. That's what you do, right? And when asked about it, you don't act like a raging cock who hates Canadians and hates the people that are asking the question and hates a free press. We can get into that another time. This was his response yesterday when asked why he didn't participate in any of the meetings, why he doesn't want to have anything to do with being informed on our national security issues, why he has not even done a fucking national security background check. I want you to watch this, and we'll talk about it 1 second. Watch this.
Kevin Doherty, iPolitics. I presume you watched Mr. Johnson's presentation earlier today, and he said that when he started the process, he thought that he would conclude there should be a public inquiry. He didn't come to that conclusion because he says there's a lot of confidential information. Now, one thing he proposes, he's going to have public hearings about things that he can talk about in public, but he also invited the 3 opposition leaders, which includes you, to join NSICOP. Would you join NSICOP?
David Johnson is Trudeau's ski buddy. You're
not answering the question.
I'll answer it how I choose. You get to ask the question, I get to answer it. I'll choose how I answer it. And the answer is that David Johnson is a ski buddy, chalet neighbor, family friend, and member of the Trudeau Foundation. He has no business in this job because it is a fake job that he is incapable of doing impartially. And none of his recommendations can be taken seriously because he's in a conflict of interest. And frankly, it's incredible that he didn't even mention the Trudeau Foundation in his report, even though publicly available intelligence showed that the dictatorship in Beijing had given money to the Trudeau Foundation for the express purpose of buying the love and loyalty of Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, Johnson's part of the Trudeau Foundation, so of course he wouldn't want to investigate himself. But frankly, that's why he should have recused himself. As for any proposals he might have to silence me, the answer is no, I will not be silenced. Thank you.
Will you be joining NSICOP?
No.
Thank you.
No. And the silencing part of that, let me explain this to you. NSICOP is their national security body. all the major party leaders, they get together when they find out that Russia's doing some stuff in this country, China's doing some stuff in this country, Iran is doing some stuff in this country, and they're like, hey, we've got a problem with interference or election interference, people that are trying to get certain candidates. Dude, it happens across the world, happens all the time. All the fucking time. This is and dude, every party is guilty of working across different lines with people to get things done for their people. It just happens all the time. I don't trust the liberals. I don't trust the conservatives. I don't trust the NDP. I trust none of them. I trust no fucking politician in this country. So let me just say that on Front Street. The way he treated that reporter speaks to his values and his character. Absolutely fucking none. What he then did is he took the reputation of a man who was the governor general of this country and the fact that he went skiing with the prime minister of this country when he was 12 years old. And he's turned that into a reason where he says they're trying to silence me. Now, I think it's funny too, but let me just kind of get to the bottom line of the nitty-gritty. Chalet, buddy. And he adds all this colorful language to make it look like they're best friends, right? That is absolutely 100% not true. I do not like Justin Trudeau. So everybody, and I put up this tweet yesterday, that seemed to have gone viral. And everybody's calling me the sucker of JT's dick. Everybody's calling me a liberal cuck, which is fine. I could care less. But I'm just going to get to some facts here because we like to bear those out before you go ahead and make an opinion. 90% of those people are bots. They're from India and the Philippines, and I know the companies that they work for, and Jeff Balling hired them all, and he works for Pierre Poilievre. So anyway, that's I'll put it all together. This is the tweet I put out. Pierre Poilievre is the most valueless piece of shit Canadian politics has ever produced, rectally, maybe a little strong. His disdain for Canadians and desire to force the dumbest 10% to fight over his hatred for the rest is fucking astounding. Now, how do I get to his hatred for the rest? Really fucking simple. That man is turning his responsibility for our security, our election security, our free vote, free will, and the security around that into a fucking game. And that game that he's playing is he's saying, whoa, if I become part of this organization, if I want to protect Canadians, that means I can't come out here and make up these lies. Those are lies. And I do not like Justin Trudeau, but those are fucking lies. The way he framed it, how he said it, all the shit that went into it.
So he's not a member of the Justin Trudeau, like the Trudeau Foundation?
No. Oh, no. He is and was a member of the Trudeau Foundation, but that Trudeau Foundation has been, and I do too. But the way that he put it together, listen, is there a conflict here optically? Of course there is. We've said that 1,000 times.
So here's my thing.
Inquiry, but hold it. Hang on. Why does he not want any of the information? Why will he not take a briefing? And I'll tell you why. Because the second he signs up for NSICOP, the second he does it, his responsibility is to not talk about the very confidential information that governs the security of this country. Now, can the Liberals take that and go, well, we're just going to hide behind this? Sure they can. And they probably do. And they probably will. Mm-hmm. But the statement that he's making there is, I don't give a single fuck about the security of this country, the politicians that work in it, any of my colleagues, you, or anybody else. And you heard him say it. He's like, I am going to answer the questions as I want, not with facts, not with truth, but he's answering the question to gaslight people into doing some pretty fucking incredibly gnarly things to each other.
Here's the thing that I think we have to look at, and I said this today on the show. You can be a fan of PeePee, or you can be a fan of Justin Trudeau, right? If you look at this current situation and you isolate it from the perspective of, I don't know what PeePee's history is, or take away all his history, and you take away all Justin Trudeau's history, and you just look at this, isolate this one situation, how PeePee handled that. I'll never be able to call him by his actual name. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do it. Yes. You take just this one situation and you go, all right, okay, should he be involved in this organization that looks into what the impact of the Chinese interference had on the elections? Absolutely, he should. That should be the responsible thing for him to do. And he won't do that because he is a cock. And so you can be mad at him for that. Okay. And Liberals will be mad. The left will be very mad at him for that because he's also making a big deal out of it.
Mad too. Yeah, I mean, it's trolling. It's part of it.
If you take a look at what Justin did here and how weak that looks from all accounts by putting somebody that was on his organization on, it's such a joke. And the thing that bothers me most about it is PeePee is using this as a tactic to get into the press, to have his followers
Soundbite,
around,
rage, gaslight.
It-
Yes.
and
yes.
it works.
Do you know?
It
Well, let
works.
me
It
tell you how
knows
well it
works.
works. Let me show you how well it worked. Can I show you something? Let me show you something.
works
I'm
really
not
well.
taking my pants off. Let me show you something. This is a tweet that came from your province. Love this people of Alberta. This is an outlier, so I'm not. This is not indicative of your province. This is Mark Thomas. Okay. Here's a tweet that he put out. He's since deleted his account, been fired from his job, and I think he is in trouble with the RCMP. Mark Thomas tweets, if for some reason they claim that Notley won the election, Alberta will be in a civil war. The only way they win is by cheating. We do not stand around and wait for a court date if they cheat. We will hop in our trucks and we will hunt down every last
This is the tweet
one
that I
of
was telling you about.
Yeah.
Somebody tagged me on it, and I'm like, this is not a thing. This is not real. You can't convince me that this is at all. Like you said, it's an outlier. This is not. This is this. I actually believe that this is a tactic of the left
Maybe
to
it is.
upset the right. That's what I think.
It might be. But Mark Thomas is a real person who really lost his job this week because of that tweet and deleted that tweet.
Then he should have lost his job because he's an idiot.
Let me just get to the bottom of it. We will hop in our trucks. We will hunt everyone and last down them down. We will hold them accountable. I hope this is a warning for any of you NDP fucks who figure you're going to cheat. We will find you. We will remove you. Signed, Alberta landowners. Now, how does that guy get there? How does he get there? Great question. Stuff like we just heard from Pierre. The whole, they're coming for you. They're coming for your stuff. They're going to steal the election.
And he gets there from the virtue signaling of our leader
and
of our
the
country.
Fucking losers on the left that are telling him how to talk. And now everybody's jammed up and everybody's telling everybody how it works. I fucking hate them all. And we're going to burn them down this year. That is my job. Not to take any sides,
but hold on,
take the side of a politician, not to take the side of a liberal, not to take the side of a conservative or a fucking NDP candidate, not to take any of those sides. We are going to take the side of Canadians this year. You and I. That is the goal. We are going to take the center side of Canadians, and we're going to call it out on both sides. But I can tell you right now that we are on the precipice of the middle, taking back the extreme parts and telling people, sit down, shut the fuck up, and Pierre Poilievre is in a lot of trouble. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, no, and the thing is, I think people should be angry at both sides. I wanted to make sure I made that point. And we should be angry at PeePee for his arrogance and for his tactics. We should be pissed off. I don't care if you're a fan of his or not. You should be annoyed at his tactics and what he's trying to do to this country right now. He's trying to divide it, right? And in the hopes that it's actually going to lead him to some sort of a victory, right? Because he's looking at a playbook from somebody that is very close to us politically and shares a border with us. Okay, so he's doing exactly what he thinks he needs to do in order to win. Okay, and then you should be fucking royally mad at the Liberals for being so stupid to put, like, I don't care what the relationship is. I don't care if it was 12 years old. 100%. There is a conflict of interest by that what's his name?
David Johnson. Optically,
Johnson.
there is a massive conflict of interest.
There's a huge, 100%. And you know what? That arrogance should piss everybody off as well, because they think they can get away with it.
Totally.
That's the problem I have with this whole situation, is both think they can get away with it because they think the fucking Canadian public is dumb.
Totally.
And we're not.
No, none of us are. But they play us for that. Dude, they've been playing us like that for hundreds of years. They've been fucking jamming shit in your ears and in your brain and making you angry and telling you what to do to other people. Like this lady who I used to work with at Chorus long time ago, named Jackie Budden. I can't remember her last name. Doesn't even matter. She works for the Conservative Party. She's shit posting me today. I'm not fighting with her. I'm not fighting with other Canadians over this anymore. I said that in a post a little while ago. We need to take our frustration out on all of them. The political institution that has absolutely murderated the brains of people in this country.
Yes.
Taken free will away from you, where you're like, oh, I'm on this side, I'm on that side. So let's beat the shit out of each other. We can do that. We can do that. We're going to keep doing that. This is about
No.
you. This is about me. You and I have very different opinion on what's going on sometimes, but we have the very same opinion on what is happening to people like us and what
Yes.
they are trying to do to us. And it's time
But
to say it's fucking enough.
we have different trigger points, right? Like you
Like, I
can
love
actually
this stuff.
Yeah, you
You
love
don't.
this stuff, but you can also you get triggered by things that are said in a certain way,
Character
and I get
stuff.
triggered by the other side of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I've been trying to come to terms with, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I laughed. I found it wildly entertaining. As much as I can't stand Pierre Poilievre, the ski buddy thing and the chalet neighbor, I was laughing my ass off.
I was too, dude. And I find it funny
But
too. Like there's
Justin-
some entertainment here, but let me
Justin
play.
just looks like he just does his little head cock and his little smile,
Soft
and then
voice. Yeah.
Oh my
Dude,
god,
he's gonna
I
win.
want
He's gonna win
live
because
my-
at the end of the day, the people in the middle are gonna go, I trust that vibe more than I trust the crazy vibe. That's kind of the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go, okay, where are we settling on our vote? What are we gonna do? We're gonna trust the people around us that don't put us fucking off and make us feel unsafe. That is
Yeah.
some unsafe fucking rhetoric, and it's been coming out of one side for a long time. The fuck you. We're going to tell you how you can and can't talk to people. We're going to tell you the names you should use. We're going to tell you that comes from the other side. They can fuck off too. I want you to play a response. There's a guy named Dominic. He does these really cool videos, response videos, does them for both sides. The response to Pierre Poilievre that really explains the danger he's putting Canadians in by playing this gaslighty game. Let's watch it together.
Pierre Poilievre is saying that he will not be silenced and he is very upset about something, so let's talk about it. The Liberals appointed David Johnston to be a special rapporteur to talk about election interference. But Pierre Poilievre is refusing to read the classified report because he refuses to get security clearance for it. Because he says that it'll silence him, and that's what Trudeau wants. So Pierre is accusing Trudeau of being complicit in Chinese election interference, yet he refuses to read the report that is about that specific topic. What? And it should also be noted that Johnston reached out to Pierre Poilievre on 4 different occasions to meet with him and only got 1 reply. On April 3rd, they asked the party leaders for all relevant information and documents, and they had nothing by April 13th. Which is why last minute, David Johnston had to meet with Erin O'Toole. So Pierre refused to be involved in the investigation, he refused to give up information that he claims would have been important, and then he refused to read the report, and then he blames the person who wrote the report for not having the conservative side of the story. It is childish. And this dude wants to represent us on the world stage without his security clearance? Just to wrap this up in a tight, pretty bow, in an email from Erin O'Toole 2 days ago, let me get one thing out of the way. I was the leader of the Conservative Party in the 2021 election, and let me say very clearly that Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party won that election. Political interference from the Chinese Communist Party was not the reason the Conservatives lost the election. I take responsibility for the loss. So the last Conservative leader is saying that he is responsible for the loss. He is taking ownership. The current Conservative leader is saying that he will not be silenced, and he refuses to read any security reports. Reading and listening to Pierre is exhausting. That's why I do it for you. So follow if you want to stay up to date on Canadian politics.
There you go, Frank Dominic.
It is exhausting. That's a good point.
Yeah, it is.
And the problem is, and the thing is here, and this is, I can compare this to what we're dealing with in Alberta. The thing about PeePee, whether you like him or not, and I'll give Justin Trudeau some credit beforehand. Justin does a good job of the reason why I think that the next federal election is going to be even fucking closer than the Alberta election that we're dealing with right now. Similar situation, you got the left and the right, is because I don't think Notley is as good at playing the game as Danielle Smith is. The difference between Alberta and Canada, provincially and federally, is I think Justin's actually pretty decent at hitting his followers.
Yeah.
His messaging and how he, the one thing that I think he's going to get into trouble with is he is clearly rattled. He gets clearly upset by PeePee. And
dude, and that's, I'll
it.
tell you something, like other than the gaslighting and lying to people, him trolling Trudeau makes me laugh 4 out of 10 times. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, that's the best. Cause
It's
I
fun.
love doing it too. Right.
But
It's one of my favorite things, like you with Leaf fans, that $100 bet, Game 7. You just spent $200 just to troll people. They're spending hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to troll the prime minister. So
they're spending
that's
millions of
off.
dollars. Don't even kid yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I know their
So-
budget for digital is like tens of millions of dollars. It's like more than their budget for anything else because all they want to do is capture the hearts and minds of morons. So.
Here's how far it goes. I mean, we were running ads on 95.7 Cruise FM for the NDP party, and we had a lot of people that were mad at us. And so I kept saying, and a couple of the jocks on the station would say things like, hey, listen, just because you hear that ad doesn't mean that we support it. We just have to run those ads.
Yeah.
And I was encouraging Danielle Smith to like a couple of times I said, well, I hope the UCP spends some money because it pays my bill. Like it feeds my family.
Sure.
But she never did. But you can't turn on Facebook without seeing a Danielle Smith ad.
Of course.
So
where are all the
the
crazies?
tactics have changed. Like that's the problem in the world that we live at. Not only do they know that they need to stick to a certain, and
You
here's
know where to go.
here's where I think it's all going to crumble. And because on top of that, that we're being exhausted by the process and it's over, like everyone's over it. On top of that, now people are starting to see through these tactics. And I think you're going to see a situation where people start to, on both sides, realize how ridiculous it is. And they're going to start voting in a certain way that sends a message to one side or the other.
Mhm.
And that's what I did in the provincial election this time. I am not a Green Party member. Am I a fan of their politics? I looked at the candidates that I have available to me in my riding, and I went and voted for the Green Party because out of the four of them, it's the only party that doesn't make me puke up into my mouth. So you've got a conservative that's never voted NDP or Liberal that is now voting for the fucking Green Party. And you're going to see more and more of that. And the reason why I did it, and people will go, so you're throwing your vote away? And I'm like, no, I'm doing it because I think a lot more people are going to start doing that. They're going to start voting for these fringe groups, and they're going to start to gain a little bit of traction, and they're going to start to put some pressure on these morons and how they do business.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's on both sides. And I think that's going to happen. You're going to see some situations politically in the next 5-10 years where, hold on, what? The Green Party won in.
Can I ask you a question?
But
are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Like analytically, we see it, right? We see who's voting, why they're voting. We see more people getting activated. But are like it's the quiet ones, right? It's the people who aren't on Twitter, who walk small and carry a fucking massive stick in their communities, who are just gonna go vote. Just gonna go vote. That'll be the end of it. That will be the end of it in Alberta. That'll be the end of it in Canada. Is the middle. And I'm telling you this because I see the numbers, like all the polling. Frankie Graves Mikos does a great job of this too. Is you see people going to advanced polls in droves in Alberta, right? Voter apathy was all-time high in the last election in every province across the board. Now people are voting not because they're like, it is my civic duty and that has been impressed upon me. They're like, enough. I'm gonna go vote. I'm gonna fucking get this done. I think apathy has turned around in this country to the point where everybody's now saying,
I think you're right.
That's enough. That's enough. And that is the Canadian way. And I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, and you know what? I voted. The advanced polls opened up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they've changed the rules. It used to be if you're out of the country or you had a limp or you're missing an ear or something. I don't know what the rules were for advanced polling. But now anybody can vote at any time. And then the other issue is you have to vote at your voting station, the one assigned to you on the day of the election. So on Monday, May 29th, I would have had to have gone to a certain location. Advanced polling in Alberta, and if you're in Alberta, you can drive into any one and you can put your vote. And not only that, I didn't even need my voter registration card. I walked in there. As long as you have a driver's license with your current address on it, you are eligible to vote. They looked me up in the system. It took me 5 minutes. There's a place less than a block away from work. I literally got off the air. It opened up at 9. At 10:30, I was in and out. And I had voted in the advanced polls.
Good for you.
And that place was packed, Dean. It was day one. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. And there was 40, 50 people in that voting.
Really?
Yeah.
That's exciting, right?
And you know what? I remember doing advanced polls in a previous election, and it was me and the people in there sitting at a table. But there was lineups at every one of the stations, but they were getting people through just like crazy. They've got it down. Right.
Well,
so
and you bring up it's happening. I believe it. I believe it because we see the numbers. We see the educated kind of guess. Everybody's guessing as who's going to win, and everybody's looking at Twitter. Don't look at Twitter. Read polling information, and then start dinging around. Start looking at what happened in the United States.
Don't look.
You have to look at polling information.
No, you don't.
No, you do.
Dean, tell people to make up their own mind. Do not.
No, I want people to make up their own, but I want people to look at the polling information for one reason only. You're going to have a very different result after this election. Mark my words. Look at that stuff. Go vote. Do whatever you want to do. Don't let, to your point, 100%, don't let any of those things sway you into voting anyway at all. Take a screenshot of a poll like 2-3 days before the election on the 29th, and then after the election, I can guarantee you it is going to look incredibly different. I don't even fucking care who wins. I don't live there. I'm not going to fight people over it.
I had a bit of an epiphany. And it was based on a visit to a friend of mine's place
for that
on the weekend. Is there a sap?
So. An epiphany.
Yeah. So I drive up to my buddy's place, and he's got a sign. He's got a political sign on his yard, and I start in on him right away because here's the thing: it wasn't who was on the sign. It wasn't the color of the sign. For me, it was the fact that he had a sign on his lawn. He is not that guy. You just need to trust me on this.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, what's that? And he goes, you know what? Stops people from coming to my door. And I'm like, oh my God. Here's the other thing. I think we're at a point in politics with people where they just don't want to have the conversation. So the first person that comes to the door, and there's peer pressure or whatever, and they don't want to be rude. They're like, just give me a fucking sign. I'll go put it up. Thank you. Go have a good day. They'll put a sign up to keep people away so they don't have to have the conversation. He might not even vote for that party. They were just first to his door.
It's sort of brilliant. Because if you want to stop the conversation, no one's coming to no NDP canvassers going to a UCP house with a big fucking sign in front of it. Yeah, I like it. I think it's a sweet move.
I brought this up on the show earlier in the week, and we had one guy come up and he goes, you know what I do? I just take everybody, any sign that comes, and I got them all on my yard.
Be a pain in the ass to mow around. That'd be the only thing I'd be.
People don't want conflict, Dean, and they especially don't want conflict now.
No, they're tired of it. And I'll tell you what. We have made a very concerted effort to get away from that here. Like we've made a very concerted effort on purpose, because I truly believe one thing and one thing only when it comes to what we're going through politically, what we're going through socially.
That's why you signed Charles Adler.
That's why we signed Charles Adler to the roster. I know what I'm doing too. So yeah, he was huge this weekend. The numbers that guy drove, the common sense he put into the atmosphere, fucking.
I don't know. You know what?
I love it. No. Hey, difference of opinion.
Let's pump the brakes on common sense.
Tell me, no, I love it. I love that kind of common sense. I love taking out bad people of bad character. And we'll talk about that another time. But I can say this, to your point, it's exciting. I'm excited that people are starting to get activated and they've got strategies and the people are coming back. And like you and me and everybody, we're all just exhausted by it. So I will say this. Vote for who you want to. I don't really care. Whoever is the next prime minister or premier is going to be an asshat because they're a fucking politician and all they do is lie for effect and influence. That's it. That is it. So do what you got to do, Alberta. I think the message should be get out and vote. Make your voice heard and do what you think you need to do when you put that mark down on a piece of paper. But I think the more people that vote and what it'll do is this is my hope, is that we get to a situation in Alberta where there's more than 2 people to vote for. I'm lucky in my riding that I have 4 options. I have a UCP, an NDP, a Liberal, and a Green Party option. Okay. There's a ton of ridings in Alberta that have just the 2. So I would have been so angry if my riding. So that's why I'm encouraging people. You got to vote. You've got to get people excited about politics again. You got to
because, and I got to stop saying things like, who would ever run in politics? You have to be a complete moron. Like, it is the stupidest job in the world.
I'm
I
going
gotta
to
stop
stay there.
saying
You
that.
can move on. I'm going to stay there because I truly still believe that.
Do you? Okay,
Oh,
I believed that for a while.
You have to be valueless to become a politician. Valueless. You have to be able to port your values over to some fucking ideology and some group of people who want you to do their work for them so they can get access to your fucking taxpayer bank account. You have to be a valueless human being to be a fucking politician, specifically in the day and age that we live in.
There we go. That's still the message we're sending.
But it's really incumbent upon us to send a message that we're tired of it, and that's why you vote. That is why you vote. Okay? Can we settle there? Is that good?
We should, and we should not get into another topic because we should save the Jim Carrey conversation for Friday if we're going to do a pod.
We are doing a pod Friday.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Okay, you're going to try. We're going to come back with Jim Carrey on Friday. Vote, Alberta. I love you. You'll figure it out. You're going to be fine. Canada, same thing. You're going to be fine. We'll get through this. Don't worry about it. It's just people.
My guy. I'm excited about my guy. He looks like somebody that has matching Crocs with his wife.
Your Green Party guy?
Yeah. And I'm sure he's got something planted in his backyard.
That's my kind of guy, too. I'd vote for that guy in a second. Lochlin Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton is where you can find him at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. 957cruisefm.ca. Listen to him every weekday morning. Great to see you. Great show. Thanks for your time. There you go. That is Lock. That's it for us. We're out of here. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. A little common sense. A little buttery today. We're feeling buttery. That's what we do. A little sexy indifference. Nobody cares here. We're on nobody's side. You know what? We're on like the vast majority of the quiet Canadian side. That's what we do. You should be on the same side. Way easier. And I'm not fighting with you, Canada. I'm not. You just get blocked. It's Dean Blundell on Twitter. Crier, the Crier Media on Twitter as well. You can follow us. Follow us at criermedia.co. That's where you can get everything we do, including 120 podcasts, part of the podcast network, courtesy of our friends at Sound Off Media. But go to Crier Media, crier.co or crier.ca today and check out everything we do, including the podcast personalities and the written content that we put out today. A lot of fun. Have a great day. Really appreciate you spending some time with us today. We'll be back again on Friday with Lochlin. We'll get into Jim Carrey becoming a born-again Christian. That's a lot of fun. And we'll talk religion, and we'll have a very special guest for you. Friday, have a wonderful day. Thanks to our partners and friends at Cantork. Spent the weekend with Colin and his Tagliani race team at Mosport, Canadian Tire, Mosport Track, just in Clarington, not south, 20, 30 minutes from me. Watched an incredible Pinty's NASCAR race, and the Cantork crew, part of the Quick Wick crew and the Alex Tagliani race team. These guys are lovely people. I got to hang out with a spotter all weekend. Alex came in 6th, brand new car, was just testing it. Dude finishes 6th. When you're a world-class racer, that's what you do. And part of their team is Cantork, part of our team as well. Canada's assembly tool experts, making rugged, hard-working, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts, offering you the best in sales, service, rental, calibration, maintenance, custom fab of industrial torque tools, no matter the scale of your bolting project. In the steel, heavy machinery, forestry industry, nuclear industry, railroad industry, doesn't matter if you need a fastening and loosening solution or an industrial torque wrench nobody makes. These guys do it. They fabricate it. They clean it. They take care of it. And they'll do what you need them to do, because you cannot find a solution in this industry without them. Cantork, proudly Canadian made, proudly Canadian owned, and part of the Alex Tagliani race team. Go to cantork.com for more information today. Kivlaw.ca, Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. Southern Ontario's top criminal defense attorneys. They get you out of trouble. Doesn't matter what you did. They want you to get your life back. They want you to figure it out, so they hold your hand through it. Rob knows that you need answers, and Rob Kivlikin is the principal at Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. So if you want to speak to him or one of his lawyers, go to kivlaw.ca or send him an email. Be in trouble, don't do this on your own. Legal stuff on your own sucks. You should never be your own lawyer. Ridiculous. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Again, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Check him out today. And, of course, we're brought to you by Gitch, engineered for any level of performance as well as everyday life. Buy 3, get 1 free using promo code GITCH3 at checkout when you go to edsfineimports.com. Oh, what can I say about these? I picked up like 10 pair yesterday and 2 new pair of 34 Heritage jeans as well at Ed's Fine Imports. Beautiful downtown Markham. But his underwear is owned and operated and made in store. He is Canadian and Canadian AF, as they say. And he's made this incredible pair of underwear. You're going to love them. A bunch of different colors, all different sizes, barely there comfort, super soft. You can run, walk, sprint through your entire day in Gitch. So go to Ed's Fine Imports. Use code GITCH3 at checkout. GITCH and then the number 3, engineered for any level of performance's everyday life. GITCH, brought to you by GITCH Undies. Have a great day. Thanks for being part of the show. We'll see you tomorrow. No, we won't. We'll see you on Friday because we don't do Thursdays anymore. We do 3 days a week. And we've got some big announcements coming up on Friday. So join us, won't you? YouTube, Twitch, Dean Blundell Show, Dean Blundell TV, respectively. And if you could, hit the subscribe and the little like button somewhere, or just give us a nice review. That'd be nice too. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday. Bye.